Alright. Welcome to Goof on Radio Stream. I am your host, Rich Giordano. It is stream number 162. Let me get this situated better. There we go. I'm not sure. We had another update on OBS. All shows are being recorded and will be displayed on goofon.net 24 hours later. That's right, goofon.net is getting a serious update as we speak. So when you wake up tomorrow, you will have a fresh, updated website. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you guys are here. Can we turn that off for a little bit? You think we can get that down? There we go. I really like the new music. You know, we just get in. We don't waste that much time. But I want to welcome those who are showing up here slowly but surely. There is no Spreaker show because, Saturday night, this computer, Windows, wanted to do an update. And it said this could take a while. And that was at 8 o'clock, 2 hours before the show starts. I said, well, how long's a while? Well, an hour goes by, and I'm at 14%. So I called Dave. I said, I don't know what's going on. Now it's updating my drivers. I don't think I'm going to be ready to go. I won't be able to go live. He says, all right, well, do you want me to play a replay? And I said, yeah. So 13 hours later, it was still doing the update, and it was stuck at 37% updating the drivers. And then I realized that's driver D it's telling me about. That's my external driver, which I didn't think I had connected. And I disconnected it, and the update took another 30 minutes, and I learned a very good lesson. So that's what happened to Spaced Out Saturday Night. Unreal, right? It's like, you know, I can't win. I was ready to do the MKULTRA show for that night. It would have been pretty good. But we did the replay on there. So I'm glad you're here tonight. Look, this is the last Monday, right? When is Christmas? 9 days? Hold on, let me see. So I'm doing a show Wednesday. Now I'm going on this, I think it's Enlighten Radio. I don't know what it is, but I think a guy's name is Jim Emmons or something like that. I'm going on their show Thursday. So this Friday, I will be doing Goof on Radio because that is the beginning of my 2-week vacation for the holidays. So I get to have those 2 weeks off. So I'm going to go nuts. The 21st is Saturday. Yes, I will be back on SOR. 23rd is next Monday. Now, next Monday I am doing a show. But then look what day Wednesday is. It's Christmas. I may do a Christmas show. It's on later in the day. I may do a show. You know why? Because it's just me. After we open up the gifts and, you know, say hi to mom and dad and the rest of the family, I'll be home by 4 o'clock. So my show can definitely be ready. And you know what? I may do a show Christmas Day. So that will be a day decision. It depends on what I get for Christmas. If I get a drone, a computer, a TV, a car, I won't be here. Look, I want to go out of town. Man. I have to get to 1,000 subscribers. Let me tell you why. Once we get there, I can go mobile and do the show live on location anywhere I want. You know what I mean? With the phone. Yeah, it is a weird week. I've never in my life had a 2-week vacation because work was slow. Because of what I do, I work with businesses. They're not going to be around. So I won't be able to talk to them. So they're giving me the 2 weeks off. How freaking cool is that? Anyway. We're just listening to the racket outside, that's all. It's loud for me, man. With these things on, and I can see the little LED lights bouncing up to the yellow, man. The yellow. I don't know. All right. So, hi, everybody. Coral Ann in the TV said, B. Baker's dozen, Chuck Bam Bam Bigelow, Fritzy, 37, Huddle Huddle, 39, Hut, Jamie the Beaver, Lee, Hodgepodge, the Great Plains Drifter, welcome to Goof on Radio, GPD in the house, and everybody else is filing in. Where the hell? Heather Farrar. That's your name, remember? I got to change it. I don't like it. I'll think of something later. I got it. Heather, wait, Heather Ferrari. You're now Heather Ferrari. That's the way I'll remember it. I can't remember it any other way. It's not loud? What do you mean? You can't hear me loud enough? Am I loud enough? Is there that much of a delay? Is it John Farrar? Look, I have John and Heather Farrar. John Ferrari and Heather Ferrari. You guys are the two Ferraris. Booyah. Can you guys hear me okay? I mean, yes. Thank you, Fritzy. Like and subscribe to the show because we're going to talk about MKUltra tonight. Something and targeted individuals. Well, two different, but I think the same, right? Isn't that what we're doing? Yeah, MKUltra and targeted individuals. Today's the 16th, right? Okay. That is me, right? And we've got a new thing for the show tonight. What the? No, please don't. Oh, I don't know what the first pick was. I'm going to be adding these picks in here. People that we know. Something happened. What happened? Everything's wrong. Everything went wrong. I love this, man. All right, we still got topside cam? Please tell me we still have topside cam. Hold on. Yeah, we got topside cam. Thumbs up. All right. MKUltra is really interesting. And I was watching a documentary on it today because I wanted to know a little bit more about it. And I don't think I learned much more about it other than the people, like, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. What is MKUltra? Well, we could go off that, right? We can start off with what is it? Well, when we're talking mind control and the CIA, you get MKUltra. Okay, MKUltra was the name of a program that was. They had a couple of names. I can't remember what they are. I don't know. Purple folder. What was it? I suck at this job. I don't know why they hire me to do this. I get paid nothing. I talk nothing. I am nothing. Hold on. Let me just pull up a video and have them explain it to you. I don't know what I'm doing. So I was watching the video, and it starts off with showing there was this thing that happened in Paris, I think in 1951. And people started in this little small town in France. People started freaking out. And they couldn't figure out why some people were seeing weird things, talking to themselves, harming themselves, wound up killing 7 people. But they found out it had to do with the bread. The bread, and according to the people who created MKUltra, they say it was LCD. Somehow they think, the rumor is that the Americans doused the bread with LSD. What'd I say, LDS? I'm dyslexic when it comes to letters, numbers, and the alphabet, and math. But people started losing their freaking minds, and they pointed at the Americans. Well, the Americans, the Russians, everybody was trying to come up with the truth serum because of World War II, I think. I don't know. After the World War ended, those scientists, they were just taken over here, right? And we used them at NASA. Some of them went to the CIA, right? Isn't that what happened? Am I wrong? Ma, CIA, yay, nay, or... She just left. It is, here, I'm going to do this for you because for some reason I can't get the words out. Hold on, let me pull it up. You can watch this just for a minute. This is and yeah, I'll get into it myself and mention some things, but there's some people out there, like in our time. There's this girl named Solaris Blue Raven. I don't know if you ever heard of her. Solaris Blue Raven says that Rush, the band Rush, used mind control on her. I'm going to play a really interesting... See, something's going on with my computer. Everything's like freezing up now. It's freezing up. Let's try it again. Somebody's going to die tonight. It's going to be me. Yeah, we'll watch a little bit of this. This will explain it. This is in France. Watch this. See, these people were unknowingly ingesting LSD. And they don't know where it came from, but it got into the bread. And that's what they figured out. And everybody who was eating the bread were freaking out. This girl, she kept trying to pull hair out of her mouth. Imagine that. Lions jumping out of the sky, blood coming from the ceiling. The thing is, you know, when you don't know you're taking a drug, the effects that happen from taking LSD, hallucinations especially, would freak you the hell out. No biscotti. Moi. Je voudrais un bread. Seven people died, though. So what the reason they're starting off this documentary with this is the fact that this really happened and it was in the paper, and this hasn't just happened here in France. At the same time, American citizens were being sprayed, believe it or not, off of San Francisco, off of the Bay. I mean, this is crazy stuff. I mean, I'll have to show it to you, but I'm not well versed in this enough to where I know the names or I know detail, but I know enough to know that I think this shit's still going on to this day. This should scare everybody. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why right now, and you're not going to like it. Can I get the real camera on me or something? Here's the deal. In this documentary, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'm going to skip through it because that's what the show is tonight. And then I'm going to play a clip later of Solaris Blue Raven, which is freaking, it's an amazing show if you haven't heard it. It was on PSN Radio where I used to broadcast, and it was off of a UFO Not Radio, Jesse Singer. Very good, very, very good radio guy or whatever, live podcast guy. Jesse, I think he's still doing shows. Very good if you ever get a chance, UFO Not Radio. I'm not sure if he's still doing it, but anyway, this is a real thing that really happened, and they were literally, and it looks like chemtrails when they were spraying this stuff, dousing pieces of America. And there's a map, and they'll go over it. It's a fact. I mean, this is all factual. I mean, you can read all about it. You know, I mean, this is crazy what our government, the CIA, did to people, animals, etc., etc. I mean, we see chemtrails all the time, and we laugh at it, but we don't know what's in those things. It's barium and strontium. Yeah, I know all that, but what else? We never get to know. Every day, what's being sprayed? But that's not what this is. This isn't about chemtrailing. Oh, damn it. Can you believe this, what I just did?
We're putting the Nazis on trial, but in fact, behind the curtain, we're doing some very nasty things ourselves to basically incarcerated people, poor people, individuals who at the time were called feeble-minded and locked up in institutions. And if you were in one of those institutions, whether you were indigent or an unwed mother or had some sort of mental incapacity, there's a good chance that you may have been incorporated in some sort of medical study, possibly for the government or not, where you would have been used and abused.
Assisted by the German scientists, the Americans begin pursuing their goal of the ultimate weapon, and everything is allowed in the name of the Cold War. On the one side was the Army, whose priority is to win the nuclear arms race. At the time, to test the effects of radiation on a large scale, they used their own soldiers, who were docile and disciplined. Between 1946 and 1962, between 250,000 and 500,000 men were exposed to radiation on Bikini Atoll or in the Nevada desert. They were exposed with no protection, unaware of the risks involved. And afterwards, the radiated particles were cleaned up.
Yeah, just brush that radiation off with a broom. Yeah, that'll get that pesky radiation off those clothes. Get them off those boots there, Johnson. Get them off those boots.
Brooms.
There you go.
These images served as propaganda for an army
broom.
wanting to show off its technological power.
How about radiation? You think there's much danger from radiation?
Well, radiation is the least of the worries. That's the minute I'm thinking about it.
Radiation's the least of the worries, because that'll show up a little bit later, like tomorrow or the next day. We want to know what's going on now, Johnson. You hear what I'm saying? We only want to know what's going on now, not tomorrow. When that blast goes off, we're going to send our men running into the radiation. We're not going to worry about the radiation. Not now, anyway.
I think most people who thought the radiation...
I just can't believe our government did this to their own people. What kind of sick, twisted world do we live in? I'm sorry. I mean, all this stuff is real, and I know there was a reason for it, but come on. You know, this is bullshit. I'm so angry watching this. I just can't stop.
Radiation was the greatest danger, didn't they? Where did they learn to?
Well, prior to our instructions here, we received a very thorough briefing before we even came this close to contact with it.
On the other side was the CIA, who was above all interested in psychological manipulation. Their goal was to create an infallible truth serum, wipe memories, turn humans into robots, and program them.
Okay, by the way, I just want to, if people have, now I won't I won't show you any animals or anything like that because they do show a couple of monkeys. But if this kind of stuff, you know, makes you a little bit queasy, you know, you may want to look. When nothing bad happens here, just a guy. There's another one later on, but yeah, I don't like it with the animals. I don't know why.
To kill.
I'm sorry. I'll stop talking for a minute. I'm an asshole, I know.
Psychological manipulation. Their goal was to create an infallible truth serum, wipe memories, turn humans into robots, and program them to kill.
Wipe memories, right? Program humans to kill. I mean, this is unbelievable. They're literally trying to reprogram people to be robots.
Conveniently, in 1948, a researcher in the Sandoz laboratories, Albert Hoffman, discovers a molecule that ignites the Secret Service, lysergic acid diethylamide, or LSD. It's derived from the same rye fungus, long held responsible for the incident at Pont Saint-Esprit. It was believed that the hallucinogenic properties of this drug were key to psychological manipulation. Fearing that the Russians would get their hands on Sandoz's samples, the Americans bought all of their stock. The discovery of LSD was a godsend for the Army, who on the brink of nuclear weapons were looking for a weapon that could defeat an enemy without firing any weapons. The man who was head of this program longest was James Ketchum, shown here in uniform. He was a psychiatrist who was working for the military. As a patriot, he was prepared to push the boundaries in his research. He tested around 30 drugs, but especially LSD and the dangerous benzolate.
There you go, guy. Just suck on that for a minute. Let me know how you feel.
He treated 7,000 soldiers, hundreds of whom later sued the Army because of the side effects that they still experience and attribute to these drugs. However, when questioned, James Ketchum sees things differently.
I thought that was Bob Lazar. Is that Bob Lazar? Holy shit. That looks like Bob Lazar.
Tribute to these drugs.
Is that him?
However, when
that looks like Bob Lazar from that distance with that quality. We've got LSD in element 115. That is element 115. Element 115 is LSD. That's what makes things fly. Fly, birdies.
When questioned, James Ketchum sees things differently.
I think they're very patriotic. They've not been given credit. They've been called innocent guinea pigs, which they certainly were not. They knew what they were doing, and we told them as much as we could about it. We had to limit the names of the drugs because...
Look at how this guy's trying to justify shit. Man, I just want to punch him in the gut.
Some of them were artificially made, and if we were to give out the name, of course, that would also reveal the structure, and that we were afraid the Russians would get that. They were apparently following our work. We thought they were ahead of us, but actually they weren't, and So they were watching what we did to see what they could learn and use, and they developed a similar drug later themselves.
God, they're just babies, man. Just kids.
James Ketchum doesn't like this type of video, as he believes they lead to confusion. He claims the products were more festive than dangerous, and prefers images like this one of a soldier.
Oh man, I'm about to get violent. I mean, when I watched this earlier, oh, and he's trying to say this was more of a festive, right? More festive, like this. This is the video you should be showing, is what he's saying.
On LSD.
You're just having a good time, man. Just laughing.
He also highlights this video of volunteers who received minimal doses of LSD. A few minutes later, they were incapable of responding to simple orders or even doing basic exercises.
Yeah, you put him on acid. It's hard to do now.
In parallel with the Army, the CIA was also developing its own programs, codenamed Bluebird, Artichoke, and later MKULTRA. But to carry out these programs on a large scale, they needed funds. In 1950, the Korean War gave them the ideal pretext. Some American soldiers were captured. During their detention, pilots admitted having dropped chemical masks. In reality,
See, they told them to put on these masks so you don't breathe in the toxic stuff, and the actual canisters were in the masks.
They think they're testing gas masks. In reality, the canisters are filled with a toxic chemical.
What a great government.
They were testing a whole assortment of different hallucinogens like LSD and marijuana and things like that. And they explored other drugs, very high levels of atropine, scopolamine, benzoates, very powerful. And a lot of these soldiers ended up incapacitated. It took them a long time to recover. And while they're in recovery, the doctors cannot do any more experiments because it's basically a very small base and testing operation. In other words, they needed a new site.
Yeah, France, that's what they did.
It's in this context of the Cold War.
All right, let me jump ahead a little bit. To me, it's just amazing that this type of stuff happens on American soil. I mean, I don't... Nobody knew. I mean, here.
Entire populations bore the consequence of large-scale tests.
Large-scale tests.
Here are some examples. Again, uncontested cases that are recognized by the American government.
Watch this.
In 1953, radioactive iodine was injected into newborns and pregnant women at Iowa University and also in Nebraska. In 1955, the CIA sprayed whooping cough bacteria off the coast of Tampa. 2 died and dozens fell ill.
It's a chemtrail. It's a chemtrail.
Also in 1955, the CIA enlisted prostitutes in San Francisco, opened 2 brothels, and tested drugs on the clients. The sex was then filmed through a one-way mirror. In 1956, the Army released millions of mosquitoes carrying yellow fever and dengue on the towns of Savannah and Avon. There were several deaths and hundreds of people infected. 1960 in Cincinnati, the Army financed a radiation program on 90 destitute or ill inhabitants of the city's university hospital. Some died after several weeks.
Hey, don't think for a moment that when you see those chemtrails in the sky, that's just for weather. I can't think that anymore. I mean, I primarily think it's used for weather, but holy crap, man, they could make us sick with the flu or, maybe try to cure it. I don't know, but they can do whatever they want, and obviously they still are to this day. It's really an amazing world we live in, They've got all this land they can test this stuff out in, but they have to do it over unsuspecting populations to get a true reaction, to see what the numbers are at the hospitals and to see what the symptoms are and how people are being treated and how they're recovering. And they probably got everybody's name, their address. They probably watched them, seeing if they stayed recovered. I mean, some of these people who were deep into the program that were given LSD off the charts and all other types of drugs that should have killed them, they're never normal. They're not the same to this day. Now, you want to jump ahead into the technology of it. This is how it all started, what we're looking at. This is the beginning. Now they use radio waves, right? Isn't that what they're doing? What do they call them? Radio waves. That's what they're using. Electromagnetic waves? Is that what they're doing too? It's just sickening. It really is. The level you got. And this guy's story, check this out. You got to hear this. This guy, he was a patient, and listen to what they did to him, and then we'll move on a little bit from the video.
And they stuck it on your back and pulled it off, stuck it on and pulled it off until the first layer of skin.
He said they put, here, let me get it on. He said they put a piece of tape on his back and then took it off, ripped it off. Then they put another tape over the same area and pulled it off until they got the first layer of your skin off. So it's, so you're exposed underneath. A little bit of blood, but it doesn't drip, that kind of like a skid mark. Well, a road rash or something. But they did this on his back. 3 on each side of his spine, over the kidney area. So here, he'll continue.
Skin came off your back. And they put six sections on my back like that. And then they took a bottle with the Johnson & Johnson bubble bath in it and put it on a patch and put the patch over the raw area. Then they took a can. I recognized that can as being from the Army. And I was like, what Johnson Johnson got to do with this? So he took the can and he sprayed it on my back. And when it hit my back, it was cold. But it was so toxic and like fumes, I could taste it in my mouth. And as I'm walking down, I'm getting dizzier and dizzier, dizzier and dizzier. By the time I stepped into my cell, I passed out. Boom, when my back was inflamed. And by the time I woke up that morning, I had great big blisters on my back full of pus. This rash just gets worse and worse. And it looks like when the moon come out at night, it flames up and I'll be moaning and crying. My cell partners couldn't sleep.
There was a second test.
That's pretty awful. Pretty awful stuff. So, I mean, that's literally what happened. This one lady, she was a test subject herself. There she is on the left. And it took her 30 years to get her medical records released to her. And the government paid her. They don't tell us how much, but they paid her for her services. I mean, they wiped her memory. She doesn't remember anything. Like they wiped her memory clean of everything from that time before. And this was all to learn how they could use this kind of mind-altering drugs on the enemy and make them freak out and make them see things. This is so stupid.
And that a POW would say or do anything to avoid a second dose. Nice drug.
Look at this poor guy. That's from drugs, man. And they also did shock people. Like that lady was talking how a normal shock is 1 second, and they would shock her for 35 to 40 seconds at a time. There was one time where a guy would not have a seizure, and he went through, they gave him ridiculous amounts of stuff. His body wouldn't go into a seizure, so they had to start the therapy or whatever you want to call it all over again until he had a seizure. It was pretty sick. I mean, people had to have died, right? There's no way they could have been alive. Bill Clinton gives a big sorry, we did that to you in 95. That speech. But MKUltra is pretty amazing when you think about it. Well, I think it is a very workable way of controlling people, if that's even the right way to even say what I said. Can you do that for me? How about... There we go. Anyway, but there's a lot of people who have come out over the years and they've come up with the most amazing stories, and you're like, no, I am not going to believe it. But after listening to them and hearing the same stories over and over and over again, and I'm not saying they're identical, but it's like the abduction scenario, alien abductions. And people keep talking about alien abductions to this day, and a lot of people still don't believe it. Here we have proof of what the CIA did to our own people. And people are saying there's no way that's happening now. Hell yeah, it's happening now. It's happening worldwide right now. People can be somehow controlled. Anyway, I'm going to pull this this girl up. Hold on. What is her name? I forget. Solaris Blue Raven. Let me see if this is... I can pull it up here. I'm looking for a specific one because she talks about it with Rush, and I know where it is, on how she said Rush, the band, was using mind control on her. It's pretty wild stuff. All right, let's do this. Oh, why don't I just do things the normal way? Yes, I had it all ready. I don't know what I'm doing. I have it right here. I'm so stupid. This should be it. No. I don't know what I did. Hold on. This will pull it up. Here we go. This was about 3 years ago, I believe.
write me back postcards. So I had a correspondence with this person. He knew who I was. So going back to 2004, when I had heard about this quote-unquote tragedy of his quote-unquote family, I decided that I wanted to send my book Transmutation Through Ascension to him.
Listen how fast she talks. Now, this girl has done a lot with this story. You almost think it might have happened to her. Maybe it did. Maybe it did. But she's one of many people that when they talk about this happening to them, they look like this, with the spaced out makeup and the blue hair. I get it. Blue Raven. I get it. Yeah, it's a character. Good for her. But that's not out of the normal.
Him because I had correspondence with him before, and I felt kind of bad for him. And I sent my book, and if anybody reads...
People who usually speed talk like this have something to hide.
This book, it's on DNA activation healing.
Now, the reason I picked this one, I keep stopping it. I'll stop after I tell you this. After she does the interview with Jesse, the Skype connection, like when you do a Skype call and he has a co-host on there, so he and the co-host are still talking, you could jump back into a Skype call and listen in without them knowing if they're not paying attention. Well, they started, after they did the interview with her, they started talking about her. Nothing bad, but they were just saying, man, this is hard to believe, this is kind of like out there. Well, she jumps in and just goes off on them, and it's really great radio. I was proud of that show that they did.
It's more about spiritual consciousness and how we are living in multidimensional space. It's really expanded. So I sent him the book, and within a week's time, I had everything in my house under surveillance. My phone was wiretapped. I had my computer hacked.
She has no proof of this, mind you.
I had live plants in the area. I had people calling my cell phone from California. I had all sorts of things happening to me simultaneously, and then I started getting an interconnection program running where they actually triangulate you. They triangulate your electromagnetic field. They can do this through satellite-driven technology. So a lot of people think it's microwave, but actually they can do it through satellite-driven. So what they'll do is they'll triangulate your electromagnetic field, your neural circuitry.
That's the actual speed. There is no speeding up or anything. That's the way she talks.
Mind map you on an electromagnetic scale, and they interconnect you into what they call a program, which is based on artificial intelligence, synthetic telepathy, life handlers, real time, and operators and controllers and programs. Now, all of this is a live feed real-time handler. It is not something where you're just listening to an imaginary communication system. So that started the programming insofar as communication. They announced who they were live feed real-time. The members of the band, Neil Elwood Pert, very specific about who they were. Michael J. Mosbach was one of the main handlers, who is the right-hand man of Neil Elwood Pert, if anybody knows who they are. He's also the director of surveillance and security, and he was the man who was literally the first one who interconnected me with Neil, live feed real time, because this is a technology they use for the road. So that's how I got plugged into that technology, live feed real time. And what people have to understand is when you get pulled into this communication system, it traumatizes you at all levels. Your vitals drop, everything in you starts to reboot into a machine world. So at that point in the continuum, I was losing my vitals. I wasn't communicating. I had, I hear somebody breathing there. Are you slurping on something? But
no. Yeah, I have a cough drop thing going. I got all kinds of good stuff going.
All right,
on.
I just wanted. I'm
glad you asked me a question because I wanted to slow down a little bit. Is it okay if we? I can just say that you are one of the fastest talkers I've ever heard in my life, and I thought, and you speak eloquently, so don't take it as a cut. But basically, when I was listening, I thought something got adjusted. And I thought that I was listening to it in a higher speed.
Well, you probably do, because when I talk about this, it is kind of a communication where obviously I memorized it because I remember it so clearly for so many years. But
yeah,
it's why. But also,
okay, let's back.
In other words, it's a story I've been telling over and over and over again. I know it so well, I can tell it sleeping.
Back up. We got to back up because I don't think people are understanding as much. Okay. When you first had the correspondence with Pert. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Neil Pert, the drummer.
He responded back to you. You had sent him this book because he had family pass away.
Correct.
And it was a car accident, I believe.
Yeah, that was the illusion of what they tried to portray, and that's a long story. But yeah, they supposedly.
Wait, go ahead.
No, I'm just telling you, she was murdered. She was murdered by that program, and that's something that most people don't know about, but I do. So, end of story. But they can say whatever they want to say, and they have.
Well, I think what we need to find out, though, is that he responded to you back, and we don't know why he responded to you. Is it because he liked your writing?
You know, nobody else knew the story, but she knew. She knew the truth. She knew.
Well, that's interesting, because what I kind of got from the whole thing, because they interconnected me the way they did, is that I was a good candidate for the technology they were deploying, which was about synthetic telepathy and sci-fi technology. My abilities as a second-degree black belt, plus I was a state champ women's advanced kickboxing. I was really in my prime when they hit me with this communication system. So it was my impression that they really felt like I was a good candidate for the technology, plus my spiritual background, where I had a very unique, what we call Merkaba signal, and very high frequency, what we call light level bodies, but light level in body. So I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's about ascension and light bodies. So, but frequency based, higher consciousness based.
That's when all this ascension shit started too. Look, 3 years ago, remember? And now we're kind of almost at the apex of it. We're getting there. Next year, 2020. They're waiting for the 2020. All right, let's well, this is actually interesting, I have to admit.
And then you get pulled into the program, and all they do is they take that energetic signature and interconnect it onto their array system. Now, that also dovetails into transhumanism, where they can actually take that electromagnetic field and all that you are on a multidimensional scale and interconnect it into their array system with AI, which is...
Wait a minute. So we have the technology to take our body's energy, our chakra, our aura, basically...
Literally.
Am I hearing that wrong?
So, end of story.
Listen.
But they can say whatever they want to say, and they have.
Well, I think what we need to find out, though,
well, that's interesting, because what I kind of got from the whole thing, because they interconnected me the way they did, is that I was a good candidate for the technology they were deploying, which was about synthetic telepathy and sci-fi technology.
Synthetic telepathy and sci-fi technology. Whoa. What is it? Wait. Yeah.
My abilities as a second-degree black belt, plus I was a state champ women's advanced kickboxing. I was really in my prime when they hit me with this.
Why couldn't she just say she was in her prime? Why do you have to throw out that I was a state boxing kickboxer and I was, just say it. I was in my prime. We don't need to know your accolades. See, that's when this is how I understand people when they talk like this. They're trying to make it bigger than what they need to, because it's got to be a lie. And her story's so wickedly weird. There's no way it's real. It's like she created this alternate universe in her mind, and just the man went with it. And she believes it. Well, I really don't know anymore. I mean, I don't know. How long do you keep a lie going? She's still out there.
Communication system. So it was my impression that they really felt like I was a good candidate for the technology, plus my spiritual background, where I had a very unique, what we call Merkaba signal, and very high.
Holy shit. You know who I think Dave should interview her. Dave Scott. I'd like to see what the hell they would talk about.
High frequency, what we call light level bodies, but light level in body. So I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's about ascension and light bodies. So, but frequency based, higher consciousness based, and then you get pulled into the program, and all they do is they take that energetic signature and interconnect it onto their array system. Now that also
they take your they take your energy waves and lock it into their system, is what she's saying.
Dovetails into transhumanism, where they can actually take that electromagnetic field and all that you are on a multidimensional scale and interconnect it into their array system with AI.
Take everything, all that you are in every dimension, and put it into their array. This is, you see?
Which is literally connected to transhumanism down the road. So
see, now that's alien technology to me, man. That's alien stuff.
That's another dovetail right there, but go ahead.
Yeah. I think what I didn't understand from the interview that I was watching was, why do you think someone like Neil Peart, who is a very famous musician for 25, 30 years? These guys have been around forever. I know multiple people listening to him as kids, obviously. But why would a guy like that be involved with something like this?
Well, I can tell you right now, they use it for Sci-Spy, but they also use it for their surveillance communication system. Michael J. Mosbach, who, when I met him in person, too, you have to understand that this people actually came to visit me in person. Michael J. Mosbach twice in person before I had to testify in court. And literally, he talks about the communication system itself, because what they use it for is for being on the road without a headset or a radio or anything where you have a cell phone. You're interconnected live feed real time, so you have a synthetic telepathy communication system live feed real time. This is where you're the eyes and ears and people can tell you where to go. It's kind of like that movie, The Matrix. You can literally use it for your own security and surveillance. Peart's been involved in this for a very long time. If you look at some of the old interviews he's had, a few of them, he even claims he's schizophrenic, which is BS, because literally he's been plugged into the communication system. Now,
all right. I can't listen. I get angry. Just not to go off topic, but Saturday, my computer, reason I wasn't on Spaced Out Radio, or I think, yeah, I see your question there.
Hold on, Mosbach. No, let's slow down. Mosbach.
My computer did an update, and it was starting to repair the drivers, and I didn't realize it was trying to repair an external hard drive, and it was in update mode for over 13 hours, 13 and a half, and it was stuck at 37%. So when I unplugged it, once I realized it was the external hard drive, once I unplugged it, it immediately started continuing the update, and it was done 30 minutes later. Yeah, so I started that update at 8 o'clock, 2 hours before the show, thinking it's just a 2-second update like most of them. Yeah. I didn't realize I had that thing. That thing has been connected to my computer for a year. Never had that problem. Anyway, like I was saying, they said goodbye to her. And this is the funniest thing. You never know what can happen when you have a guest. Well, she was listening to them talk about her and how they didn't quite believe her story. And she called back into the Skype call, because you can do that if you were part of the call. And
is head of security.
They just went.
Secondly, I was happily married.
She went nuts.
A few things. I guess you didn't grasp you.
But honestly, I was a fan of a fraternity brother in college, and I found out that he did a sexual assault on a girl at a bar. He stuck his hand up her skirt, okay, because he was so drunk. And the poor girl's boyfriend, who defended her, got beat up by all the fraternity brothers. And guess what? They knocked on my door one night and said, hey, we want you to lie and say that this guy started a fight and la la la. And I said, absolutely not. I will never do that.
Right.
And that's the problem. I can't. This is a tricky one. You're saying that certain people ruined your life. So I feel very strange moving forward on it. And I really have sort of an itch that I need to scratch at this point. And I thank Solaris for that, because I will
Excuse
go.
me?
Hello?
Yeah, hi, I'm calling you back right now because I'm watching you.
Oh, hey,
I'm hearing you bitching and bashing and talking shit about me after I did an interview and I gave you my time of 2 hours. So I'm extremely pissed off right now. And let me just fill you in on a few things. I guess you didn't grasp anything that I was saying. I told you I have evidence of the signals, transmissions, and technology built into me. Insofar as the evidence goes, Roger Lear didn't measure me, Angel. It was Steve Colburn. And I have a documentary based on this. Once again, I have the evidence in my documentary. I have
the evidence. Okay, you say you have the evidence,
Angel,
but let's see the evidence.
Back it up, Angel. I'm just telling you right now, how dare you? I gave you 2 hours of my time and the shit that I've been through with that goddamn band.
Hold on,
Solaris, hold on, calm down.
Goddamn brute, are you fucking kidding me?
Hold on.
Okay, see, you're not acting like somebody rational right now, Solaris. Calm down.
I'm goddamn pissed at you people. I gave you 2 hours of my time and you talk shit about me. How dare you? How dare
How are we talking shit about you? We're discussing the interview.
Where do I begin, Angel? First of all, I'm not a groupie for the goddamn band. Secondly, I was happily married. I told you point blank. I sent a book to this person.
Hold on. Groupies can be happily married also?
I am no groupie, buddy. I'm sorry. That's not my style. I'm a lady. I have class. I have integrity. I have a brain. I'm not some of these freaking douche bitches, excuse my French, who sit on the street doing drugs.
Can I interject something? Can I interject something without anger? Can I interject something? Is that okay?
Right now, I couldn't believe what I was hearing,
I'm trying to calm this down, and I'm trying to explain something that will make some sense.
I gave you 2 hours of my time. I'm telling you the truth. You people have no idea.
You told me to give me 2 hours. I gave you an hour and a half of my time. And I still don't understand how this pertains at all. And I'm saying that there are very intelligent people here who do this for a living for how many years, and they don't understand. That's all. They don't understand. Sleeves and do the work, but don't you dare sit there and call me a groupie or a fan or anything else. These people put me through a brutal, excuse my French, sick little psychotronic warfare program. If you're going to make those claims,
but how can you prove that it was Rush? Yes, you have to prove it.
I have technology, and I have.
That doesn't prove anything about Rush, though. What technology? How does it prove it? How does it prove it? Solaris. Listen, we're very nice on the show, but right now I want to ask you straight up: how does anything that you said prove that Rush was involved? How does it prove that they were involved?
And they announce themselves. And
how does that? All right, but you saying that doesn't prove anything. Solaris, you saying that does not prove anything. Where is the pudding? Where's the proof?
Witness and testimony to that fucking crime scene.
Where is the proof? Where's the proof?
I have news for you, buddy. One of these days you're going to be eating your own crow, and I hope I'm around to watch you do it because both of you.
Oh, I love crow.
Taste that shit. Challenging. That's the world we work in, Clarence. You can't come on the show and say, here's my story, you have to believe it, or fuck you. You can't do that.
It doesn't work that way.
Or else
that
we
bitch
wouldn't
sounds
have
like
a
a crazy
program.
person.
Why would we just...
Yes.
Go ahead, Angel.
No, that she sounds like a crazy person, straight up.
And this is not what I wanted. This is, I could have done this in the beginning of the show. It's very easy for me to do. It comes quite naturally. Okay? She's very upset. She thinks that and then she hung up. Of course, amateur radio is hilarious when the guest can just interject herself, which you gotta love. That wasn't bizarre.
That wasn't scheduled either, by the way. She just jumped right back into the conversation on Skype. He hung up twice, and she just.
Well, this is
Skype has that function though.
Because
that's the thing.
I'm not trying to hurt somebody's feelings. That has nothing to do with that. But look, we're dealing with a very intense, important subject here. I kind of mapped it out for you here. There's saying that you got boarded an alien vessel and such happened to you. Well, this is the same kind of thing, but it's a little worse because you're dealing with people that have families and lives, and Solaris has a family and life, of course.
It's really strange how mad she got. The only reason somebody would be that mad, I mean, she hung out and was listening in. She's like, I'm going to listen and see what they say about me. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to listen to them, and I'm going to listen until they say something bad. Once they say something bad, brother, then she calls back in and starts swearing, throwing the F-bomb. I'm a lady with a brain. I'm no groupie. Now she's cutting down groupies. Well, groupies are needed. Nothing wrong with that. It's amazing. What a narcissist she is. I loved every minute of it.
But when you're making amazing claims like this, you got to have amazing evidence.
Yeah, and that's what makes me think she's lying. Because why would you get that mad at two guys? Just they weren't rude about anything. They were just saying this is hard to believe. And then Angel said something like, and it wasn't an offensive hit on her at all. He's like, well, I don't know, was she a groupie? I don't know if she was some sort of groupie. I mean, he was like questioning it. He wasn't saying, she was a groupie hanging out with the band. He didn't say it that way. He's like, was she a groupie? How did she know the band? Yeah. Like, why would Neil Peart want to write her back? But this is the problem we have with ufology. We have this problem, obviously, with anything that's very conspiratorial, We get people with these great claims and really have very little to no evidence. She has this evidence of some sort of, I guess there was a reading done on her body or energy. I don't know, but John Lear was the guy, right? Wasn't he the one who did the implant retrieval? alien implants. And there was one implant where they were, I think it was patient number 17, where he tried going in with the forceps or the little pliers, and the thing kept moving away from it like it was conscious of the pliers. Well, when you have enough fatty tissue, and you're trying to grab it, of course it's going to move. I've seen that, the patient 17, I've seen that John Lear, there was a documentary about him, I don't remember, some years ago. I have a major problem with the implants that he's pulled out. Oh yeah, there was one that had a signal. They didn't record it, but they were detecting it or something, right? But they didn't hit the record button, something stupid like that. But one of the implants gave a signal, and then all of a sudden it just did the Mission Impossible thing and disintegrated. Am I wrong? Am I wrong on that? I feel like I'm wrong. I could be wrong. But I know the one thing where he's chasing around the implant, with the pliers or whatever, trying to grab it, and it kept moving. And they brought that up in the documentary. They even said, this isn't fatty tissue. This thing moved the opposite direction. Well, yeah, it wouldn't move towards you. No, I think they were trying to sell John Lear. Because all those implants, I ain't buying it. Your skin is the biggest muscle on your body. Did you know that? Just letting you know. And over time, you shed skin. And your skin moves and shifts. And when you're young, 5, 4, 3, you fall down a lot. And you get glass, you get tiny particles that get stuck in your knees, in your shins. And that stuff, 30 years later, next thing you know, it's in your thigh. It moved all the way up. And it's a piece of metal that somehow didn't get infected. Maybe it was too small, or just that's the way the body works. And some things can, I don't know, get in your body and not infect you. I have yet to see any evidence of an implant. Now, the video I played a little bit ago with that lady who sued the government and won and got her records of all the testing that they did on her, she had a surgical incision behind her ear, and there was an implant in it. But there's no documentation of that incision, that operation, the implant, nothing. Is it possible that maybe they have some alien liquid? I don't know. Third phase. What'd they say? And they retracted. We'll have to go back in the history and see what they, on the replay. Because we'll be able to see it as it appears. It didn't get it away. We'll still see it on replay. Third phase. Oh, there you are. You should watch our documentary on Dr. Roger Lear called The Alien Human Project. It's all about alien implants and interviews with the patients. Wait a minute, I think I've seen that. Yeah, we'll check that out in a few minutes, actually. About 5 minutes. Look, MKUltra and targeted individuals seemingly go hand in hand. Because when you talk about targeted individuals, you're talking about people that are sitting at home and somehow get ill for no reason, or they get dizzy, and they dismiss it. Like, oh, I must have had eaten too much candy, or something didn't sit well with me, or I caught that cold at the office. But little do they know, it could have been electromagnetic rays. I don't know. What is it? It could have been radio waves. Could have been. How about those guys who went to the American embassy in Cuba? 15 government officials from the U.S., they all got sick. And they found out that they were being targeted by a sound weapon of some sort. They can feel like the vibrations in their bodies. It's very interesting. Now, I don't think I've ever been a targeted individual. I don't think I'm that special. But I could tell you, there are times where I've been sitting on this show just talking about stuff, and a loud piercing noise would come into the headset. I'd take the headset off and I'd still hear it. And most of the time it would start in one ear and go to the other. It doesn't have a preference left or right first. Sometimes it happens in both. Now I'm just sitting here. Did you know if you stand up or sit down after being in the other position for a period of time, it changes your blood pressure for a moment. So your ears could ring from that. You could hear your blood flowing, your heart beating, you could feel it. Certain things are normal. But there is documented evidence that there are targeted individuals. People who have been just driving, all of a sudden get sick. Yeah, I don't know. Some people believe, like Richie from Boston, and like this Solaris Blue Raven, they have the need to feel special and don't have any evidence to ever back anything up. Richie's talking in his video about, I may be a targeted individual. I didn't feel good. I felt my heart beat. I could almost feel my body shaking. Yeah, it's called high blood pressure. You're 50 pounds overweight. I'm not even making that up. Of course you got a problem. I don't know, guys. This is one of the toughest, I think this is one of the toughest conspiracies or secret government things that you can prove. This is very, very hard to prove. How can you prove it? How can you prove that you're a targeted individual? Unless you have the equipment to detect it and you're recording the equipment that's detecting those radio waves or whatever waves are being sent your way to make you sick or to make you dizzy or to make you forget. Celebrities. Have you ever seen the celebrity glitch videos where they glitch out? They have the one with the weatherman Al Roker, and he just staring at for 15 seconds, he doesn't blink. And then he said later on he was just doing it because the camera is always on him. He was just joking around. Shaquille O'Neal, the president, Bill Clinton. And then you see, I don't remember her name, but one of these performers freak out on stage. And then she falls to the ground. The talk show host, she falls down wearing the costume. But hers was a medical condition. You've seen news reporters, all of a sudden, and they start talking gibberish. Very strange. Well, they think they're glitching out, that they are probably robots or something like that, right? Here, let's pull it up. Celebrity glitches. No, news reporter glitches. I like those. All right, we'll do celebrity first. I got my typing speed up to 55 words a minute right now. We had 98% accuracy. If you guys ever want to learn how to type really good, real well, go to typing.com. It's free. And you can test yourself when you get through you think it's silly. But I went from 39 words a minute, and in 2 weeks I'm up to 55. I have to be up to 65 for my job now, for what I'm going to be doing next year. So I have till the middle of January to get it up there. So it works. I just wanted to throw that in there. Here we go. Oh shoot, I can't play these. I can't play these. Yeah, they'll ding me for it. right? I can show you what it looks like, though. Here's Al Roker. When he does that face, and he stays like that for a good 15, 20 seconds. See? You can see it through the darkness. He just stares like that. There's a couple of them out there. I don't know what happens here. Damn it, I want to play it. Oh, the girl in the back just collapses. Okay. I don't know what's going on.
You have an explanation for what was up with...
There, now I ruined it. Now I'm definitely getting dinged on my channel now. Good job. Not a strike. Hillary Clinton is a robot. This was good. Oh yeah, we did that the other night. Now I don't know where the good glitch videos. Ah, darn it. Here we go. Celebrity Ultra Mind here, let's watch this. It's only 3.5 million. I've already got dinged. I might as well just go. Bring the screen down. Stretch it out. Stretch out the screen. What? So she's singing to herself. So this is a celebrity glitching out? This is stupid. Can we fast forward, please? She's just singing to herself. She's a celebrity. That's what they do. They're very eclectically strange, I guess.
You know, on the backside, Isaiah Thomas. But it's just going to be, you know, they're going to give it a run, but, you know, it's just going to be hard to beat the Cavs right now. I think they're on top of the game.
Yeah, I got to go with the majority. You know, they're on a mission right now. You know, I guess they want to show the public that last year wasn't a fluke for us. You know, we're here, we're for real team.
Speaking of showing us, 2 Chainz, you got a shot, 2 Chainz? You got a shot, let me see that shot, dog. Speaking of showing us. Got a shot. Speaking of showing us, 2 Chainz. You got. Speaking of showing us, 2 Chainz. You got a shot, 2 Chainz. Got a shot. Let me see that shot, dog.
You need to remind yourself that you need to focus and try not to let stuff bother you as much as possible. But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human still. But I was just referring to myself in the past. Not that I was not human. You're human, and I.
I'm sorry. He got really red in the face, and you can see how red he got. So I don't think he was saying that he was, unless he got red face, because look how red his face got. Look at that right there, and then watch when it goes back to the beginning of his conversation.
But I was just referring to myself in the past.
Watch.
Not that I was not human. Human.
Look how he's not flush anymore.
I am human still.
So I don't think a robot would look that good.
Not that I was not human. Privacy thing, and I thought that was a fascinating answer.
It's okay. You want to take off the hoodie?
You know, I never take off the hoodie.
I know you don't. What's with that? There's a group of women in the audience that wish you would.
No.
Girls?
Whoa.
All right.
Sorry. Yeah, that's okay.
Can you explain what this instant personalization thing was that you did, and why you did it, and what's the value of it to your users?
Maybe I should take off the hoodie.
Take off the hoodie.
Go ahead.
You want to? Are you hot? Go ahead.
These are just celebrities, man. These are just weird people.
You all right?
Yeah.
This is a great moment in internet
They
history.
don't live on the same planet we do. They live in a weird world that we don't understand. They just act any way they want to. I think this guy might have... To me, it looks like he got a little high before he went on the show. And I think he was freaking out thinking, everybody knows that I'm high. And I think he was getting paranoid. Like, does everybody know? Does it? I'm not speaking. They know I'm high. Everybody knows I'm high. That's how he's acting.
What?
All right.
What are we gonna do with the mic?
Put it on your...
All right.
Put it on the collar of your t-shirt.
What a dick.
You need some help?
No.
He's there to do an interview, and he's wasting all this time.
Sorry about the...
Sorry about being quiet, Mark.
No, it's...
We're not even yelling at you.
Yeah.
Yet.
We're not going to yell at you.
No, we're not. Of course not. That is a warm hoodie.
Yeah, no, it's a thick hoodie. It's a company hoodie. We print our mission on the inside.
What? Oh,
really?
my God, the inside of the hoodie, everybody. Take a moment. What is it? Making the
world more open and connected.
Oh my God, it's like a secret
Cool.
cult. Look at that, making the world open and connected, stream graph platform, and this weird symbol in the middle that is probably for the Illuminati.
Oh, he went right for that.
No, it's 2010.
Oh no. This weird symbol in the middle that is probably for the Illuminati.
Of course
Oh my
it is.
God, it's like a secret
Cool.
cult. This weird symbol in the middle that is probably for the Illuminati. Oh my God, it's like a secret cult.
Illuminati.
People of Australia and of our show, we were very empathetic about what happened and very sort of horrified. And so we were wondering...
Okay, first of all, this one's also debunked. I can easily debunk it for you. Here, let's watch what happens, and I'll tell you what really happens.
How is everyone going? How's Kim doing?
What? Okay.
I'm sorry, is there someone talking to you?
Yes, sorry.
Sorry about that. So I just was wondering how...
You see, before they had the subtitles in there, people were saying that she was glitching out, hearing voices. So that's all this is.
Everyone's doing.
See, they don't understand what's going on.
Hello, Courtney, have we lost you?
And business aside,
Oh,
you
I
have to
hate
separate
this.
the two, and you don't know how to
This
do that.
is so dumb.
So that's where I come in, and I keep your emotions, and I deal with your emotions over here. But when it comes time for business, I implement what you told me on the emotion side into handling it in a professional manner, because sometimes it's hard for you to be.
Yeah, it's a difficult title. It's a good day to die.
They put a lot of powder on his head, didn't they?
But I suppose it's because you had kind of a good day, and if you would have died, well, so be it. Is that it?
That's right. That's a good question. Have a sandwich, and let's go shopping. Die hard.
That would have been in your chosen title.
Well, it's about, it makes about as much sense. A good, or maybe there is a good day to die hard.
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
You've had a rough year. You've had
Okay, by the way, this is one of the most famous clips about glitching out. Well, first of all, Britney Spears, somebody's talking to her. And you could hear the voices that are talking to her. It's not in her head. I mean, but people blow this stuff out of proportion. I don't even know why I'm showing this to you.
test a lot of people. Illness in the family. A breakup. This spasm of publicity about what happened from Mexico to London.
It was pretty rough, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Ah, weird. Hello.
Somebody was in her ear and they were telling her what to say, is what really happened. And she's like, oh, weird, hello. Like, didn't know you were there.
I Oh my goodness. Hello. Ew. Strong braining. Yeah, it was a weird time. Ew. I'm embarrassed. Can we stop?
Leave Britney alone.
Another child star. This is Amanda Bynes we're talking about, formerly of Nickelodeon. Here she is wearing a ratty wig, appearing in court on charges of smoking weed and then throwing her bong out of a 36th-floor apartment when police arrived. Bynes insists she is fine, but recent events suggest otherwise. ABC's Gio Benitez is on the story. Gio, sad stuff.
Oh, what did I miss?
Bizarre new case for her growing list of problems, and wait till you see how she showed up in that court.
Top of your screen over here, saying Jason Terry. And meanwhile, the Cavaliers give up 2. Wow.
Can you take us through what happened with the play with Jason Terry?
What play?
You ran off the court and hugged him, and
Y'all don't want to lose again. Cool.
This isn't the video.
I've been sitting here.
Who cares about Kanye?
We're discussing it.
We're in 2020. Do you think that's something you still want to do in life as leaders? Kanye, are you considering supporting another?
He said he's not gonna. Oh God, I hate this video. Hate it. Anyway, there is one other thing I wanted to talk about tonight. Let me just pull this up and get out of here. I thought I did a real shitty job tonight, and I'm very upset right now. Real shitty job. Not very happy right now. I let you guys down. Here come the men in black. Why is AFOSI investigating the Navy UFOs? That is the name of this story. That is the title of this story by Tim McMillan. After not being heard from since September, just as the UFO community and journalists were getting ready to dispatch Liam Neeson, the Pentagon suddenly reemerged recently as quite the chatty Cathy. Of course, when it comes to what Pentagon had to say, some UFO enthusiasts likely wished they'd stayed in hiding. Nevertheless, after rediscovering their voice, the Pentagon shared with Coyote's Tale something new and very intriguing. For the first time in 2 years, when discussing the now widely famous Navy encounters with UFOs, the DoD mentioned one of the most ominous government agencies in all of the UFO lore. Cue the dramatic music. In May, the Pentagon told the New York Post that the infamous ATIP did pursue research and investigation into unidentified aerial phenomena. Many UFO believers rejoiced with this morsel of confirmation that, post the 1969 closure of Project Blue Book, indeed, the U.S. government actually does give a crap about UFOs. However, unfortunately, December isn't the season for giving at the DoD, at least when it comes to UFOs. Last week, exactly 40 years to the month after closing it down, Project Blue Book, the Pentagon ruffled the UFOs community's hair, nervously twirling its car keys, muttering something about, "It's not your fault," and wistfully looked back before walking out the front door. As the UFO faithful confusingly stared out the window, the Pentagon lit a cigarette, pulled out the driveway, and ostensibly looked back in the rearview mirror as it tried to drive the hell away from the UFO subject as fast as possible. In separate statements to researcher Roger Glassell and John Greenwald Black Vault, the DoD's new UFO point person, Susan Goff, said neither ATIP nor OSAP were UAP related. Not yet done. Just weeks after I mentioned in Popular Mechanics that a longer, more spectacular video may exist from the 2004 Nimitz UFO event, on their way out of UFO Town, the Pentagon dropped off another Dear John letter to the UFO community. This time, in a statement to researcher D. Dean Johnson, Goff said, the U.S. Navy retains custody of the source videos. The source videos are the same in length and quality as copies that have been observed in circulation. Bull crap. Bull crap. That's such horseshit. While the UFO community shared vague social media posts quoting Taylor Swift, implying they were stronger without them, and changed its Facebook relationship status to or with the Pentagon, it's complicated. Unbeknownst to most, the DoD had also shared some intriguing comments with Coyote's Tail. Last week, I asked spokesperson, senior strategic planner for the Secretary of Defense Public Affairs Office, Susan Goff, why all UFO and UAP inquiries are now being forwarded directly to her. Goff told me incursions into military airspace or training ranges by UAPs are problematic from both the safety and security concern. For all of the DoD, not any one military service. The investigations into these incidents also involve multiple U.S. government agencies to ensure consistency in responses to queries submitted to DoD, individual military services, and other DoD agencies. OSD Public Affairs took the lead in responding to all media queries sent to DoD regarding UAPs. There are two salient points being made by the Pentagon's UFO point person here. Although every major branch of government, with the exception of the Navy, seemed to have had a very nasty case of UFO laryngitis, Goff acknowledged that UAP encounters are problematic for all of the DoD and not any one military service, something that's been stated by innumerable varied military witnesses over the years and largely assumed as self-evident fact. However, for the first time since the start of the 2017 UFO Renaissance, the DoD reinforced that unknown aerial objects don't just have a particular fondness for picking on the U.S. Navy. Worth noting, when it comes to investigations of UAP incidents, Goff said inquiries involve multiple U.S. government agencies. To be clear here, the senior spokesperson for the Secretary of Defense is a well-trained wordsmith. Goff once wrote, "The evolution of strategic influence," while attending the U.S. Army War College. Great, who cares? There's so much fluff in this story. Tim, you could have left all that out. By using the phrase multiple U.S. government agencies and not specifically the DoD, Goff admits investigations into UAP can and do involve agencies outside the DoD, such as the Department of Justice, the FBI, Homeland Security, or the Department of Energy. Though, curiously, if you ask them, the Department of Transportation and the FAA do not seem to concern themselves with unidentified aircraft encounters. The other significant point conveyed by the Pentagon's official response to me was, after decades of demonstrating itself to be utterly incapable of being concise with the public's curiosity of UFOs, when the subject reemerged as a hot topic of discussion, the DoD opted for euphemism, less traveled. If it ain't fit, keep breaking it. And they decided to make everything worse. There's so much more. The Afghanistan papers, Pentagon papers, the report of the Office of Secretary of Defense of Vietnam Task Force, which demonstrated President Lyndon B. Johnson's administration systematically lied not only to the public but also Congress about the United States political and military involvement during the Vietnam War. Who cares? UFOs, UAPs, that's all we care about. Wow, this is one hell of a long story. I thought it was just that what I read. Forget about it. Here, you guys want to read it? I'll put this in the chat room. This was off of Twitter, I believe. It's pretty good. All right, next. We got another one. Let's go. Let's keep it going. Let's go. Let's keep this going. Come on with that story. What do we got coming up next? Is this a video? Oh, Bigfoot. There's a video. Oh, this is our friend. Here, tell me what you think about this. Let me pull it up so you can watch it. This guy has Bigfoot in a bag.
Oh, he's glorious. He's glorious. What a glorious beast. Look at him.
See the eye, the nose, the mouth?
He's so peaceful, he's resting. It is like he is sleeping. We have not forgot you, juvenile Sasquatch.
That's a baby Sasquatch right there. It's a real thing. Pretty amazing. Hey, I'm just telling you, they come in, you know, I gotta play them. Looks real to me. No, it doesn't. Doesn't look real at all. Next! I thought that would have been a fun one to talk about for a minute, but I'm not in the mood. Next, come on. Let's bring it up. This one's going to be a good one because we haven't had a good one in a minute. Oh, here's a little... this comes from Pat Walker, Texas Ranger on Facebook. Well, he sent it from somebody else's channel, I believe. From Morello Senko. Believe me, this can't be real. Looks fake. I'm pulling it up. Hold on. That airplane noise doesn't match up to the video. It looks real. Is it real? What's that down there? It's fake as hell. Watch at the bottom left. There's something really strange down there. In the bottom left. Watch in the beginning. You'll see two dots and then they disappear. Watch. There they are. Yeah, it looks fake as hell. Actually, it doesn't look that bad, but I'm pretty sure it's fake. No, it's real? I don't know, man. You guys decide. You guys know. I don't know. I know nothing. I'm in this like you. I know absolutely nothing. I only know what they show me. Let's see what else we got here. This one looks like it's going to be a good one. I feel confident we got a good one coming up here. All right, I'll talk about this one. This comes from Lee Hodgebodge. Lee's here in the chat room tonight. He posted this on Facebook, so let me get it ready. This is a video of a UFO, and I will not give my opinion until we watch it. But it's a vertical... Here we go. It takes a second for it to pop up. Let's fast forward a little bit. You guys seem to be about 45 seconds behind me. Not that it matters. But was that CGI on the one before this? I don't know. Probably. It looked like it in a way. Now, I'm going to tell you what this is. This is one of three things. Okay? This is either a real UFO that acts like, you ever see those balloon arches they have when you walk into an event and they're stretched over and there's like 100 balloons that form the arch? Well, if you cut one side of the arch away, that's tied down, it straightens out. And sometimes these things, they get released into the sky and they give us this. Now, it could be number 2, which is what I think it is. There are these tube-like balloons you could blow up. Okay? I don't know what you would use them for, maybe a raft or tubing, but these have been seen many times, and a lot with strings on them. I don't know why they would have a string. This one I can't tell. But I think that's what this is. I think this is one of those tubular objects, and I'll tell you why. Because it acts just like a balloon arch. When you have something that's probably 8 to 10 feet tall, it can straighten out. But this thing also tips over to the left. It tips over to the right. That's what they do. They try to right themselves. Now the color, you're seeing the sun reflecting off the mylar balloon. Now I can't say this is a UFO. We get no reference point. We get nothing except sky and object. See, now it's cool when it stays up like that, but you can definitely tell when it turns, it's getting the misshapen part and reflecting it off the sun. See how it's starting to tilt? And it even bends a little bit. You can even see the bend right there. Now, do I know for certain that's a balloon? No. So how can I say it is? Because I've recorded these so much that I've tested it and have released 30 balloons in a 6 foot tall thing, and it does exactly what this is. What this does. Same exact thing. And this could be 500 to 1,000 feet up there. See? It's just a balloon. So don't get too excited about that. But I like the enthusiasm of the post. I enjoyed it. It keeps me sharp. Keeps me sharp. Hate to ruin that for you guys who thought that was a real UFO. I just hate being that guy, but that's who I am. I am Truthful Dick. Hi guys, Truthful Dick here tonight. By the way, these are brand new glasses. I don't want to tell you what brand, how much. Just know that they're brand new. You know why? Because I left my glasses at home today and I had to buy some for work. Well, the day. All right, check this out. There's a story here that says open-minded people have a different visual perception of reality. Now, does that mean open-minded people, or does that mean people that believe anything? There's a fine line they're not drawing here. This no. Open-minded. Okay, here. Psychologists talk about it. Psychologists have only begun to unravel the concept of personality, that all-important but nebulous feature of individuality, identity. Recent studies suggest that personality traits don't simply affect your outlook on life, but the way you perceive reality. Oh my God, that's crazy. Jeez, like I didn't know that. I could have told you for free, if anybody paid to see that lecture, that different personalities give different perspectives on reality. Of course, my perspective on reality is way different than yours. Why is that something that's new? Anyway, in a study, researchers from the University of Melbourne in Australia recruited 123 volunteers and gave them the Big 5 personality test, which measures extroversion, agreeableness, consciousness, neuroticism, and openness to experience. That last personality trait involves creativity, imagination, and a willingness to try new things. Then, tested who experienced a visual perception phenomenon called binocular rivalry. This phenomenon occurs when each eye is shown a different image. In this case, a red patch in one eye and a green patch to another. Most people switch back and forwards between the two incompatible images as the brain can only perceive one at a time. But some people merge the two images into a unified red-green patch. Participants who scored higher on openness were more likely to perceive this combined image. What the hell? That's crazy. This makes sense, according to the researchers, because openness to new experiences is linked with creativity. In an article on their results in The Conversation, they write that the ability to combine two images seems like a creative solution to the problem presented by the two incompatible stimuli. Yes. Yes. Anna Antonori, lead author of the study, explains that we're constantly filtering out what sensory information to focus on. For example, you might well be subconsciously ignoring the noise around you or the feeling of a chair against your back, and this then determines what we perceive. The gate that lets through the information that reaches consciousness may have a different level of flexibility, she says. Open people appear to have more flexible gait and let through more information than the average person. This isn't the only study that connects personality with perception. As the researchers note in The Conversation, an earlier study shows that those who score high in openness are less likely to experience inattentional blindness. This visual phenomenon occurs when people are focusing so hard on one feature of a scene that they completely fail to notice something entirely obvious, such as in this video below. Oh, let's watch it. Oh, wow, this is cool. I remember this. Watch this.
This is a test of selective attention. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball.
Ready? I forgot what I was supposed to do.
How many passes did you count? The correct answer is 15 passes. But did you see the gorilla?
I did. Say what? I did. The weird thing is I didn't see him walk in, but I saw him do that.
This video is from research by Daniel Simons and Chris.
You want to know why I saw it? Because that's the kind of researcher I am. I don't know, man. I look at everything around me, man. I'm one of those people. I'm aware of my surroundings. That's for damn sure. So what they're saying is, you know, depending on how open you are, that your personality can see reality a little bit differently than some people. Well, that makes me wonder then. If some people who have an openness like that, is it possible that we can see another realm, maybe spiritual things or create things that happen? That's an interesting thing. I don't know if that's what they're saying, but I was trying to just, you know, get a little funky with it. Yeah, I thought that was good. Hold on, I got something here. Nope, I don't. No. You know what it is, don't you? You know what time it is. Yeah. It is. It is. I feel bad for tonight. I feel bad for anybody who listened to tonight's show. I really do. I do. Sorry about the Tonight Show. That's all I'm saying. That's all I can say about that. I screwed up tonight. Anyway, everybody, that's the Goof on Radio stream. Thank you for hanging out to number 162 or 3. I will see you guys Wednesday, 10 Eastern, 7... What is it? 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, right here on the Goof on Radio stream on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please, let's try to get 50 likes. I know it's almost impossible, but we got up to, I think, 32. You can donate to Goof on Radio stream at goofon.org. And when you wake up tomorrow, goofon.net will be updated with beautiful stuff. I'm Rich Giordano for Goof on Radio stream. I will see you Wednesday. Good night, everybody.